The great hall stretched out like a cathedral made of crystal and light. Daniel Hayes stood at the entrance, his heart beating fast as he took in the sight before him. Hundreds of aliens filled the massive room, their bodies strange and wonderful in ways that still made his mind struggle to understand. Some looked like giant insects with shining shells. Others were tall lizard creatures with scales that changed colors. There were beings made of what looked like living gas, floating in containment suits that sparkled with inner light. Daniel led his team down the long walkway toward their assigned seats. Behind him walked Lisa Morgan, her face carefully blank, despite the whispers and stares from the alien delegates. Kevin Brooks clutched his datapad, his knuckles white with tension. Patricia Stone moved with military precision, her eyes scanning the room for threats that she knew they could never fight. 3 years of proving themselves, of completing every task the Council gave them, of following every rule, no matter how pointless it seemed. 3 years of hoping that patience would earn them respect. Daniel could feel that hope dying with every step they took toward the lowest tier of seats, the place reserved for those the Council considered barely worthy of notice. The human seats were simple metal chairs, nothing like the elaborate platforms where the powerful species sat. Daniel noticed this detail and felt his jaw tighten. Even in furniture, they were being told they were less than others. A clicking sound filled the hall, sharp and loud. Ambassador Zekthor rose from his high platform. He was Krell, one of the insect races that controlled a huge empire. His body was covered in hard plates that looked like armor, and his many eyes glittered with something that Daniel recognized as contempt. "The creatures from Earth have asked to join us as full members," Zekthor said, his voice coming through translators that turned his alien sounds into cold, mechanical words. "They believe they are ready to stand as equals among the great civilizations of the galaxy." Laughter rolled through the chamber like thunder. It was not the friendly laughter of people sharing a joke. It was the cruel laughter of bullies who had found a new victim. Daniel felt his face grow hot, but he kept his expression neutral. He would not give them the satisfaction of seeing his anger. Chief Counselor Thondrak leaned forward from his throne-like chair. He was Sauron, a giant reptile who stood nearly 3 meters tall when upright. His scales were deep green, and his teeth were visible even when his mouth was closed. When he spoke, his voice was deep and seemed to shake the air. "Humans," Thondrak said, making the words sound like an insult. "We have watched your species for your entire modern history. We have seen your wars, your violence, your inability to even unite your own planet. You fight each other over invisible lines and old grievances. You poison your own air and water in the name of profit. And now you come here, asking us to treat you as our equals?" Daniel stood up slowly. Every eye in the room turned to him. He could feel the weight of their stares, the pressure of their expectations that he would fail. He took a breath and spoke clearly. "We have met every requirement you set for us," Daniel said. "We have the technology you asked for. We have unified our government. We have proven we can travel between stars and establish colonies. We have resources and knowledge to contribute. We ask only for the same rights given to other member species. You have nothing we need." Zekthor cut him off. His voice was sharp and final. "Your technology is primitive garbage. Your resources can be found floating in any asteroid field. Your military?" He paused, and Daniel could hear the smile in his voice. "The Krell Empire alone has 12,000 warships. Each one could destroy your entire planet before you finished eating breakfast." More laughter. A delegate from a species Daniel did not recognize made a gesture that his translator could not interpret. But the meaning was clear from the jeering that followed. They were mocking him, mocking all of humanity. Lisa Morgan stood up beside Daniel, her voice cutting through the noise. "Then why do you bother with us at all? If we are so worthless, why not ignore us completely?" Thondrak's eyes focused on her. And Daniel saw something dangerous in that gaze. Because even children need supervision, little human. Even primitive species can cause trouble if left alone. We offer you a place in our system, but not as equals. Never as equals. He pressed something on his console, and a holographic display appeared above the center of the room. It showed terms of agreement, written in dozens of languages, including English. Daniel read quickly, his stomach sinking with each line. Earth would be given associate status, not full membership. They would pay yearly tribute in raw materials and manufactured goods. The amount listed would cripple Earth's economy within a decade. They would be forbidden from building military ships that could leave their own solar system. They would have no access to advanced technology databases. They would have no vote on council decisions. They would essentially be servants, working to enrich the council while receiving nothing in return except the privilege of not being completely cut off from galactic trade. "This is slavery," Kevin Brooks said quietly, but his voice carried in the sudden silence. "This is generosity," Zekthor replied. "You may accept these terms, or you may face complete isolation. No trade with any council species. No access to hyperspace travel routes. Your colonies will wither and die. Your people will be trapped in your single star system forever, watching the galaxy move forward without you." Patricia Stone's hand moved to her side, an old military habit, reaching for a weapon that was not there. Daniel noticed and put a hand on her arm, a silent warning. Starting a fight here would only make things worse. "You have 1 day to accept," Thondrak continued. "1 planetary rotation of your homeworld. After that, our offer expires, and you will have nothing. Choose wisely, humans. Pride is expensive, and you cannot afford it." Daniel looked at his team. Lisa's face was pale with barely controlled rage. Kevin stared at his datapad, probably already calculating the economic disaster these terms would create. Patricia stood rigid, every muscle in her body tight with the effort of not attacking someone. "We will take your terms to our government," Daniel said, forcing the words out through clenched teeth. "How gracious of you," Zekthor said. "Now leave. We have important matters to discuss, and your presence is no longer required." The human delegation walked back down the long hall. Behind them, Daniel could hear the aliens returning to their conversations, already forgetting about the humans they had just humiliated. The laughter followed them all the way to the exit, mocking and cruel. Outside the chamber, in the corridor that led to their ship, Lisa finally let her mask drop. Her hands shook as she leaned against the wall. "They never intended to accept us as equals," she said. "This was just theater, a way to put us in our place." "They made a mistake," Patricia said quietly. Her voice was cold and deadly calm. "They think we will accept this because we have no choice. They think we will bow our heads and be grateful for their scraps." "Maybe we should," Kevin said, though he sounded like he was trying to convince himself. "Earth needs council trade. Our colonies need access to hyperspace routes. We cannot survive alone." Daniel said nothing. He walked ahead of his team, his mind racing. They had come seeking partnership and found only contempt. They had offered friendship and received threats. The council saw humans as nothing more than useful animals, creatures to be exploited and controlled. As they boarded their ship and prepared to leave, Daniel made a decision. He did not share it with his team yet, but he could feel it crystallizing in his mind like ice forming on water. The council had given them 1 day to accept slavery. Daniel intended to use that day very differently. If the galaxy would not respect humanity's request for dignity, then perhaps it was time to demand respect instead. The ship pulled away from the station, heading into the darkness of space. Behind them, the council continued its business, certain that the primitive humans would do as they were told. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The ship called Endeavor moved through space at speeds that would have seemed like magic 100 years ago. Inside the conference room, 4 people sat around a table, and tried to figure out how to save humanity from becoming slaves. Daniel Hayes stood by the window, watching stars slide past as the ship traveled faster than light. His reflection in the glass looked tired and older than his 42 years. Behind him, he could hear his team talking in quiet voices, but his mind was elsewhere. "The numbers do not work," Kevin Brooks said, spreading data across the table's holographic display. "If we pay the tribute they demanded, Earth's economy will collapse in 30 years, maybe less. We will become completely dependent on Council charity. They will own us in everything but name." Lisa Morgan poured water into a glass, her hands steady, now that they were away from the Council's watching eyes. "The military restrictions mean we can never defend ourselves. Every human colony, every ship, every person beyond our solar system exists only because the Council allows it. We have no power, no protection, no rights." Patricia Stone had changed from her formal uniform into simple work clothes, but she still sat with perfect military posture. "What bothers me most is the technology ban. Without access to their databases, we will always be behind, always playing catch-up. They will stay advanced, while we struggle with basics. So we are trapped," Kevin said. "Accept their terms and die slowly, or reject them and die quickly when they cut us off from everything." Daniel turned from the window. "What if those are not the only choices?" The three others looked at him. Lisa raised an eyebrow. "What are you suggesting?" Daniel moved to the table and pulled up a star map. "The Council gave us 1 day to accept their slavery. They think we have no option but to agree because we need them. But what if we showed them they are wrong?" "How?" Kevin asked. "We cannot fight them. Their fleets would destroy us in minutes." "We do not fight their fleets," Daniel said quietly. "We steal their technology." The room went silent. Patricia leaned forward, her eyes sharp. "Explain." Daniel highlighted a location on the star map. "Outpost Meridian. It is a Council research station in neutral space. According to our intelligence, they keep advanced technology there. Hyperspace drives, weapons systems, all the things they refuse to share with associate members." "You want to raid a Council facility?" Lisa said slowly. "That would be an act of war." "War was declared when they tried to make us servants," Daniel replied. "We are just the only ones who realize it yet. The question is whether we accept their chains quietly, or show them what happens when they push humans too far." Kevin pulled up information on Outpost Meridian. His fingers moved quickly across the controls, bringing up security details and station layouts. "The station is lightly defended, 3 patrol ships and maybe 50 personnel. It is a research facility, not a military base." "The Endeavor is not a warship," Patricia said, but her tone was thoughtful rather than negative. "But we have defensive weapons. If we modified our cargo launchers, turned our escape pods into missiles, we might have enough firepower for a quick strike." "You are actually considering this," Kevin said, looking between them. Lisa stood up and moved to the star map. "I have spent 3 years smiling and being polite to species that think we are barely intelligent. I have watched humans die because the Council forgot to approve medicine shipments. I have seen Earth's best scientists denied access to knowledge that could cure diseases and end hunger. And I did it all because I believed patience would earn their respect." She looked at Daniel. "But you are right. We will never earn what they refuse to give." "This is insane," Kevin said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Probably," Daniel agreed, "but sanity gets us slavery. I would rather be insane and free." He looked directly at Kevin. "The question is whether you are with us." Kevin stared at the economic projections still displayed on his screen, graphs and numbers that predicted the slow death of human civilization under Council rule. Then he looked at his companions, at the determination in their eyes. "If we do this, we need to be smart about it," Kevin finally said. "We hit Outpost Meridian hard and fast. We take everything useful, especially their technology databases. Then we figure out how their systems actually work. No more depending on their black boxes. We build our own hyperspace drives, our own weapons, our own future. Patricia smiled grimly. I will start planning the tactical approach. If we are making enemies of the Council, we should make it count. Daniel felt the weight of his decision settle on his shoulders, but for the first time since the Council meeting, he could breathe freely. Earth will call us either heroes or traitors when they find out what we did. They called the revolutionaries who founded America traitors too, Lisa pointed out. Until those revolutionaries won. Then we make sure we win, Daniel said. He pulled up the ship's communication system and began composing a message to Earth. A message that would be sent after their raid, after the point of no return. A message explaining what they had done and why. A message that would force Earth's government to choose between submission and defiance. The Endeavor changed course, no longer heading home to Earth. Instead, it turned toward Outpost Meridian, toward a Council research station that had no idea what was coming. The ship moved quietly through space, running dark and silent. Just another piece of debris among the stars. In the conference room, the team planned their attack. Patricia worked out firing solutions and approach vectors. Kevin identified which systems to target first and which data would be most valuable. Lisa drafted the message that would go to Earth, choosing words carefully to explain their actions without sounding like criminals. Daniel coordinated everything, making sure each piece of the plan fit together. They would have one chance at this, one opportunity to strike at the Council and take what humanity needed to be free. If they succeeded, they would start a war. Are we ready for this? Patricia asked during a quiet moment. Really ready? Once we fire the first shot, there is no going back. We were never going back, Daniel replied. The Council made sure of that when they tried to make us servants. All we are doing now is refusing to accept their verdict. Lisa looked up from her work. Do you think Earth will support us, or will they hand us over to the Council to avoid conflict? I do not know, Daniel admitted, but I know that if we do nothing, humanity becomes a slave species. At least this way, we give Earth a fighting chance. The hours passed as they prepared. The Endeavor's crew, once they learned what was being planned, had to choose whether to participate or to object. Daniel gave everyone the chance to refuse. Not a single person took it. Every crew member, from the engineers to the medical staff to the pilots, volunteered to risk everything for a chance at freedom. Kevin made a discovery while analyzing the station's defenses. Their security is designed to stop external threats like pirates, but it is not designed to stop a ship that approaches openly, like a friendly vessel. We can use that, Patricia said. If we come in broadcasting standard approach signals, they will not raise shields until we are close enough to strike fast. That feels like cheating, Lisa said. All is fair in love and war, Patricia replied. And this is definitely war, even if they do not know it yet. As the Endeavor approached Outpost Meridian, Daniel gathered his senior staff one last time. This is it. In a few hours, we attack a Council facility. We become criminals in their eyes. Earth will have to decide whether to support us or disavow us. Are we certain this is the right choice? The alternative is slavery. This is better. Lisa agreed. We show them that humans do not bow to threats. Patricia's smile was cold and determined. We show them that humans bite back. Daniel looked at each of them. These three people who had become more than colleagues. They had become his family in the years they spent representing Earth to an uncaring galaxy. Now they would become outlaws together, fighting for humanity's future. Then let us begin, Daniel said. Signal the crew to go to battle stations, power up weapons, and someone start a countdown. When we reach 0, we show the Council what happens when you humiliate humans. The Endeavor moved into position, its approach careful and calculated. On the station, researchers went about their work, unaware that their comfortable existence was about to be shattered. The patrol ships lazily circled the facility. bored guards watching for threats that never came. None of them knew that everything was about to change, that a single human ship was about to strike the first blow in a war that would reshape the entire galaxy, that the species they had mocked and dismissed was about to prove exactly how dangerous humans could be when pushed into a corner. Daniel watched the countdown timer reach its final seconds. His finger hovered over the firing control. Around him, his crew waited with tense anticipation. The timer hit 0. "Fire," Daniel commanded, and the Endeavor opened fire on Outpost Meridian. Outpost Meridian floated in space like a crystal sculpture, beautiful and delicate against the backdrop of the massive gas giant it orbited. The station was home to some of the Council's most advanced research, studying technologies that could revolutionize space travel. Technologies that the Council refused to share with species they considered inferior. The Endeavor approached slowly, running on minimal power. To the station's sensors, it looked like just another piece of space debris drifting through the orbital field. Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge, watching tactical displays, while Patricia Stone coordinated with the weapons team. 3 patrol ships confirmed, Patricia said. 2 Krill corvettes and 1 Sauron monitor. They are following standard security patterns, which means they are bored and not expecting trouble. Kevin Brooks ran calculations at his station. The station's shields are designed for small impacts like meteors, not military weapons. But they can raise full defensive shields in 90 seconds. That is our window. Lisa Morgan monitored the communication channels. Station is sending normal traffic, supply requests, research updates, shift changes. They have not detected us yet. How long until the patrol ships are in position? Daniel asked. 11 minutes, Patricia replied. They will be on the far side of the station, maximum distance from our approach vector. Daniel nodded. He could feel his heart beating fast, but his hands were steady. Weapons ready? Ryan Martinez, the weapons officer, spoke up from his station. Modified cargo launchers are armed. We have 23 containers rigged as kinetic missiles. They are not fancy, but at the speeds we are talking about, they do not need to be. Target priorities? Communications first, Patricia said. If we cannot capture the station intact, we at least stop them from calling for help before we take what we need. Daniel took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change everything. Behind him sat 12 crew members who had volunteered for this mission, knowing they might never see home again. He had given each person a chance to refuse. Not one had. All crew to battle stations, Daniel ordered. This is not a drill. We are about to attack a council facility without permission from Earth. What we do here will be considered an act of war. If anyone wants to object, speak now. Silence answered him. Around the ship, crew members took their positions with determined faces. No objections, Captain, Patricia said quietly. Then let us show them what humans do when pushed too far, Daniel said. Helm, full power to engines. Martinez, fire on my command. The Endeavor's engines blazed to life, the ship surging forward like a predator pouncing on prey. Alarms immediately screamed on Outpost Meridian as sensors detected the approaching vessel. The 3 patrol ships began turning, but they were too far away to help in time. Station is hailing us, Lisa reported. They demand we stop and identify ourselves. Tell them we have a navigation malfunction, Daniel said. Buy us a few seconds. Station shields are activating, Kevin warned. Power at 40% and climbing. Fire now, Daniel commanded. The Endeavor shook as magnetic launchers hurled cargo containers at incredible speeds. The improvised weapons crossed the distance in seconds, moving too fast for the station's defenses to track. The first container hit the communication array, vaporizing it in a brilliant flash. The second and third struck shield generators, causing the protective field to flicker and die. Direct hits, Martinez reported. Communications destroyed, shields offline. Match speed with the station, Daniel ordered. Boarding teams ready. The Endeavor moved alongside the station, extending docking connections to 3 different airlocks. Patricia led the first team personally, taking 20 security officers armed with human weapons. The Council's guards would have better technology, but they were scientists and security staff, not soldiers. Docking complete, Patricia's voice came through the radio. Cutting through the airlock now. On the bridge, Daniel watched as the 3 patrol ships completed their turns and began racing back toward the station. How long until they reach us? 7 minutes, Kevin said. The Krell corvettes are faster. They will arrive first. Can we hold them off? But Captain, those are military ships. Even one corvette has more weapons than we do. Then we work fast, Daniel said. Lisa, connect me to Patricia. Channel open, Lisa replied. Patricia, you have 6 minutes to grab what we need and get back. After that, we will be fighting for our lives. Understood, Patricia replied. In the background, Daniel could hear the sound of weapons fire. We have encountered resistance. Station security is armed, but not well trained. We are pushing through to the research levels. Kevin pulled up the station's layout. The main data storage is on level 7. The experimental drive lab is on level 9. If we are stealing Council secrets, those are the places. Martinez, keep those patrol ships away from our docking points, Daniel ordered. Do not let them get a clear shot. Yes, sir. Launching countermeasures, Martinez replied. The Endeavor's defensive systems activated, filling space with chaff and decoy signals. The ship was not built for combat, but human engineers had learned to be creative. Point defense lasers meant for destroying small meteors now tracked incoming missiles. Cargo launchers became improvised artillery. Inside the station, Patricia's team fought through corridors. The Council security forces were equipped with advanced energy weapons, but they had never trained for real combat. They were used to dealing with drunken researchers or equipment failures, not humans who had spent thousands of years perfecting violence. Level 7 reached, Patricia reported. Kevin, we need you here. These computer systems are beyond what we can handle. Coming, Kevin said, already moving toward the exit. Kevin, wait, Daniel started to say, but the scientist was gone. Lisa took over his station, her fingers working quickly. I can monitor his systems, but if something goes wrong with the technical side, we are in trouble. Krell corvettes in weapons range, Martinez reported. They are ordering us to surrender. Ignore them, Daniel said. Focus on keeping them away from our people. Plasma bolts streaked through space, forcing the Endeavor to dodge and weave. The human ship was more agile than the Krell vessels, but that advantage would not last. One solid hit to the engines or docking connections, and the mission would fail. Kevin reached the data core, a massive crystalline structure that pulsed with stored information. Patricia's team had cleared the security forces, though 2 humans were wounded. How long do you need? Patricia asked. To copy everything? Hours, Kevin replied, connecting his equipment. To copy the important parts? I do not even know what is important yet. You have 3 minutes, Patricia said. After that, we leave with or without the data. His portable computers interfaced with alien technology that operated on principles Earth science barely understood. But he had spent 3 years studying Council systems, learning their methods, figuring out their secrets. His hands moved across holographic controls, copying databases and downloading research files. He was stealing 3,000 years of technological advancement. On the bridge, Daniel watched the Sauron monitor enter the battle. It was bigger and more powerful than the corvettes, carrying weapons that could destroy the Endeavor with a single shot. Patricia, whatever you are getting, get it now, Daniel said urgently. We are out of time. Understood. Kevin, pack up. I need 1 more minute. I almost have. Now, Doctor. Kevin grabbed his storage units, filling them with data. Terabytes of information, the keys to technologies that would take Earth centuries to develop alone. He could not get everything, but what he had might be enough. Patricia's team ran back to the docking point, carrying wounded teammates and dragging cases of stolen equipment. Clear. Get us out! The docking connections released as the Endeavour fired its engines, pulling away from the station. The Sauron monitor fired, its plasma cannons tearing through the space where the human ship had been moments before. Evasive maneuvers, Daniel ordered. Get us to hyperspace jump distance. That is 40,000 kilometers, Lisa warned. At our speed, that is 2 minutes of being shot at. Then make them miss. The Endeavour twisted through space, human reflexes fighting against alien technology. Martinez kept firing, not trying to destroy the patrol ships, but to disrupt their aim. Cargo containers became mines. Escape pods became decoys. Every system was pushed beyond safe limits. Alarms screamed as atmosphere vented from a cargo bay. Damage control teams rushed to seal the breach, while the ship kept accelerating. 30,000 kilometers, Lisa counted down. 25,000. Another hit, more solid this time. The Endeavour shuddered. Artificial gravity flickered. On the bridge, sparks flew from overloaded systems. 15,000. 10,000. The patrol ships closed in, their better engines giving them the advantage. The Sauron monitor charged its main weapon for a killing shot. 5,000. Minimum distance reached. Jump, Daniel shouted. The Endeavour tore open a hole in space and jumped through, escaping into hyperspace just as the monitor's weapons fired. The energy that should have destroyed them instead hit empty space. In the sudden quiet of hyperspace, the bridge crew breathed out collectively. They had raided a council station and survived. Damage report, Daniel said, his voice rough. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 7, Martinez reported. Engines are running hot but working. We have wounded, but medical says all injuries can be treated. The data? Kevin's voice came through, shaky with adrenaline. We got it. Not everything, but enough. Captain, we have their hyperspace theory, weapons technology, propulsion systems. It will take years to understand it all, but it is here. Daniel slumped in his chair, feeling the weight of what they had done. They had attacked a council installation, stolen their technology, killed their people. The consequences would be terrible. But they had also proven something vital. Humans could fight back. Set course for Earth, Daniel ordered, and send that delayed message. It is time the Council learned that humanity does not beg for scraps. The Endeavour moved through hyperspace, carrying stolen technology and a crew that had just started a war. Behind them, Outpost Meridian burned, and the Council began to realize they had made a terrible mistake. The message reached Earth 7 hours after the raid. Fleet Admiral Gregory Carson was working late when his secure computer terminal flashed with an emergency alert. What he read in the next 3 minutes made him look 10 years older. By sunrise, every government on Earth knew what had happened. By noon, the Council's response arrived. The alien message was short and harsh. The human ship Endeavour has committed piracy and murder against a Council research station. This cannot be tolerated. Earth has 24 hours to surrender the ship and its crew for trial and execution, or face severe punishment. This demand is final. Secretary General William Foster stood before the United Nations Assembly. Daniel Hayes had sent a recorded message explaining everything. The captain's words were calm but firm, telling why he chose to fight instead of submit. We acted not from hate or cruelty, but from a basic rejection of slavery, Daniel's image said on screens around the chamber. We took Council technology. Yes, we showed them we will not be bullied. Now Earth must decide. Do you reject what we did and accept Council terms, or do you stand with us and face what comes next? The Assembly erupted in arguments. Some delegates demanded immediate surrender to avoid war. Others called Daniel's crew heroes. The debate lasted 3 hours before Foster called for silence. The question is simple, Foster said, his voice cutting through the noise. Do we hand over our own people to aliens who've humiliated us and tried to make us slaves? Or do we accept that the Endeavor crew did what many of us wished we were brave enough to do. "They started a war we cannot win," someone shouted. "They started a war that was always coming," another replied. "The Council's terms would have destroyed us slowly. The Endeavor just forced us to face reality sooner." In orbit above Earth, Admiral Carson stood on the bridge of the warship Washington. It was Earth's largest military vessel, carrying fusion weapons and defensive systems that represented humanity's best technology. Against Council ships, it was nothing. "Admiral, orders from the Security Council are coming in," an officer reported. "They contradict each other, sir." Carson was not surprised. Earth's governments could not agree whether to surrender the Endeavor or defend it. In their confusion, they had chosen to do nothing. "Sir, contact from the Endeavor," another officer said. "They are transmitting their position. They will enter our solar system in 4 hours." Carson pulled up tactical displays, knowing what would happen next. The Council would not just send angry words. They would send ships, many ships, to make an example of Earth. He was right. Hyperspace tears began appearing at the edge of the solar system. One by one, Council warships emerged. Krell battlecruisers, Sauron dreadnoughts, Vrath carriers, and ships from many other species. They formed up in a pattern that showed overwhelming force and complete confidence. The Council fleet had 47 ships. Earth had 12 military vessels scattered around Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies. A transmission came on all frequencies, impossible to block. Ambassador Zekthor appeared, his insect features somehow showing satisfaction. "Humans of Earth," he began, "your criminal ship has committed acts of war against the Galactic Council. We have come to collect what is owed. The ship, its crew, and payment for this crime. You have 6 hours to comply. If you refuse, we will take what we want by force. Your choice is simple: surrender or be destroyed." On Earth, the debate grew more intense. Military experts ran computer simulations that all reached the same answer. Earth's forces would last about 17 minutes against the Council fleet. Some people called for immediate surrender. Others demanded defiance, no matter the cost. Admiral Carson made his decision. He opened a channel to every Earth military ship. "This is Admiral Carson to all Earth Defense Force vessels. You have seen the Council fleet. You know what they can do. You also know what they demanded of Earth before this crisis. They wanted us to be servants, slaves in all but name. The Endeavor crew rejected that future. Now we must choose whether to support them or condemn them." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I am ordering all Earth Defense Force ships to form a defensive line around Earth. We will not surrender the Endeavor. We will not hand our people to alien executioners. If the Council wants them, they go through us first." The channel filled with responses. Some captains questioned the order, saying it was suicide. Others confirmed immediately, already moving their ships. Carson let them argue for 30 seconds before cutting them off. "I am not asking you to die for nothing," he said. "Dr. Kevin Brooks has sent us technical data from the raid. Our engineers are studying Council hyperspace technology right now. Yes, we will lose this battle, but we buy time for Earth to learn what the Endeavor stole. We show the Council that humans do not surrender, do not beg, and do not go quietly." On Mars, in the huge shipyards of Valles Marineris, engineers studied the stolen data. It was like trying to understand advanced mathematics when you only knew basic arithmetic, but they had 6 hours to learn what they could. Chief Engineer Rebecca Yang coordinated teams across 3 planets. Human creativity and desperation worked together. They could not build new ships in 6 hours, but they could modify existing ones. They could not match Council weapons, but they could make human weapons better. "Focus on the hyperspace equations," she told her teams. "We do not need to understand everything, just enough to make our own jumps without Council help." In the Endeavor, Racing toward Earth at maximum speed, Daniel Hayes watched the Council fleet gather, like sharks, around wounded prey. Patricia Stone worked with Earth Defense Force tactical teams, making defense plans everyone knew were not good enough. Lisa Morgan wrote messages to Earth governments that she doubted would be read. Kevin Brooks worked frantically to simplify the stolen data for engineers who had only hours to learn. "We caused this," Daniel said quietly, the weight of his decisions crushing him. "All those ships, all those people about to die. It is because of us." "No," Lisa said firmly. "It is because the Council wanted slaves, and we refused. Do not blame yourself for their cruelty." "She is right," Patricia added. "We showed them humans have teeth. What happens next is not our fault." The Endeavour entered the solar system with 4 hours until the Council deadline. Earth's 12 military ships had formed a defensive sphere, fusion weapons armed, crews ready to die. Secretary General Foster broadcast one final message, sent to the Council fleet and every human settlement in the solar system. "To the Galactic Council, we refuse your demands. The Endeavour crew defended humanity's freedom and dignity. We will not surrender them to your judgment. To every human listening, we stand at the edge. What comes next will cost us, but we face it as free people, not as slaves. We are humanity, and we do not kneel." As the message ended, the Council fleet began moving forward. 47 warships against 12. The numbers were clear and terrible. But numbers had never stopped humans before. Admiral Carson opened communications one last time. "All ships, this is it. Target assignments are being sent now. We are not trying to win, just to hurt them enough that they remember us. Make every shot count. Make them pay for every meter. Remember, we are not dying to protect one ship. We are dying to buy humanity time to build a future where the Council can never threaten us again. Earth Defense Force, engage the enemy." The 12 human ships opened fire, and space around Earth erupted in violence. Fusion warheads and plasma bolts crossed paths with Council weapons. The first human ship, the destroyer Halifax, lasted 90 seconds before a Krell battlecruiser destroyed it. But in those 90 seconds, the Halifax hit the battlecruiser 3 times, damaging shields and scoring the alien ship's hull. The battlecruiser survived, but it would remember that humans fought back. On Earth, billions watched the battle on screens and in the night sky, seeing their defenders die one by one. The destruction was terrible and certain. But mixed with grief was something else: pride, defiance, and growing anger that would not be stopped by any show of force. By the time the Council fleet finished destroying Earth's military, the deadline had passed. Zekthor transmitted again. "You made your choice. Now face the results." The Council fleet turned its weapons toward Earth itself, but before they could fire, a transmission came from the planet. "Council vessels, this is Dr. Rebecca Yang of Mars Engineering. You should know that in the 6 hours you gave us, we successfully copied your hyperspace drive technology. We have also sent the complete technical database from Outpost Meridian to every human colony and research station in the solar system. You can destroy Earth, but the knowledge is out there now. Humanity is free of your technology monopoly." There was a long pause. Then Zekthor's response, less confident than before. "You are lying. You could not decode that data so quickly." "Watch," Yang replied. On the Moon, a small research ship called the Armstrong activated an experimental drive built in 4 hours, using stolen Council knowledge and human engineering. It tore open space and vanished, appearing 3 light seconds away in a flash of exotic energy. The jump was rough and inefficient. The Armstrong's drive burned out immediately, but it worked. Humanity had proven it could survive without Council technology. In the Council fleet, different alarms started sounding. If humans could copy hyperspace drives, they could copy weapons and shields, all the technology that kept Council species safe from each other. "Withdraw," Zekthor ordered, his voice hollow. "Ambassador?" a subordinate questioned. "Withdraw now. If we destroy Earth, we create scattered humans across the galaxy with nothing to lose and our own technology turned against us. We need to rethink our approach." The Council fleet began retreating, leaving behind wreckage of Earth's defense force and a planet united in grief and fury. Daniel Hayes watched from the Endeavor as the alien ships fled. Earth had lost 12 ships and over 3,000 people. The cost was terrible. But humanity was still free, and now they had the tools to stay that way. As sunrise came to Earth, Secretary General Foster addressed the world one final time. "The Council thought they could humiliate us into submission. They thought we would accept slavery to keep our comfort. They were wrong. Today we honor those who died defending our freedom. Tomorrow we build a future where no human ever has to bow before aliens who think us inferior. The treaties are ash. The old order is gone. Humanity makes its own path now." 6 months after the Battle of Earth, the galaxy looked completely different. The Galactic Council met in emergency session for the 7th time, and for the 7th time, they could not agree on what to do. The humans had done the impossible. They had not only survived the Council's attack, but had become technologically independent and very, very angry. Ambassador Zekthor stood before the assembly, his insect body somehow smaller than before. "The human problem has grown beyond control. They have built 14 new colonies beyond their solar system. They have constructed 73 warships using copied Council technology, and they refuse all attempts at peace talks." Councillor Thondrak slammed his clawed hand on his console. "Because you made them hate us with your arrogance. We could have brought them into the Council properly, but you had to humiliate them. Now, we have an angry species with advanced technology and nothing to lose." "They were primitives," Zekthor protested. "How could we know they would copy our technology in hours?" "Perhaps if you studied them instead of dismissing them," said Ambassador Lyra of the Talaxian Confederacy, one of the few who had urged kindness toward Earth. "Humans have a saying, 'Necessity is the mother of invention.' You gave them necessity." On Earth, in the new Strategic Defense Headquarters, Admiral Carson met with Secretary General Foster and the Endeavor crew. Daniel Hayes and his team had been declared heroes, though Daniel still struggled with the cost of their actions. "The Council is falling apart," Foster reported, showing intelligence from human merchant ships now traveling freely through former Council space. "The smaller species are asking why they pay tribute to an organization that could not handle one upstart world. 3 other species are threatening to do the same." "Good," Patricia Stone said without sympathy. "Let them suffer the consequences of their actions." Carson pulled up star maps. "We have received diplomatic messages from 17 non-Council species. Most want technology exchange, but some are proposing mutual defense agreements. The galaxy is realizing Earth is a real alternative to Council membership." "Which makes us a threat," Lisa Morgan noted. "The Council's power depends on technology monopoly and the belief that their system is the only way. We have destroyed both." Kevin Brooks, now Earth's Chief Technology Officer, entered carrying a tablet computer. "Latest production reports from Mars and Titan shipyards. We will have our 100th hyperspace-capable warship working within the month. Our new designs incorporate lessons from the battle. We are not just copying Council technology anymore. We are improving it." "How is that possible?" Foster asked. "They have had thousands of years to refine their systems." "They have had thousands of years of laziness," Kevin corrected. "Council species get their technology from a central authority. They do not innovate, they just apply existing solutions. Meanwhile, humans have spent our entire existence trying to build better things. Give us a working model of anything, and we find ways to make it faster, cheaper, and more effective. Daniel spoke for the first time. What is the Council's military status? In chaos, Carson replied. The species that sent ships to attack Earth are having second thoughts. The Krell lost 2 battle cruisers to our defense, and their empire is demanding the Council pay for the losses. The Saurons are pulling forces back to defend their own territory. There are reports of piracy in the outer regions. Patricia asked with a slight smile, piracy or humans? Both, Carson admitted. Some of our more aggressive captains have been settling scores. Last week the merchant ship Liberty encountered a Krell convoy that tried to enforce old Council trade restrictions. The Liberty destroyed 3 escort vessels and captured the cargo ships. That is piracy, Foster said, though his tone was more tired than angry. That is self-defense, Daniel corrected. The Krell fired first. Besides, the cargo included medical supplies the Council forgot to approve for human colonies 6 months ago. Supplies we already paid for. Foster rubbed his face. We need to be careful. Yes, we proved we can fight, but we cannot fight everyone at once. We will not have to, Wisa said, showing diplomatic reports. The Council is breaking apart. The species that benefited from the old system are trying to hold it together, but the ones who were exploited are leaving. If we handle this right, we can build a coalition of free worlds that makes the Council irrelevant. Over the following months, Earth's diplomats worked constantly. Captain Daniel Hayes, despite preferring action over politics, found himself leading delegations to species that had been oppressed by Council policies. His story connected with them. A single ship that refused to submit, that fought back against impossible odds, that changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The Talaxians were first to sign a formal alliance with Earth, followed by the Drethian Consortium and the Free Colonies of Kepler. Each new alliance weakened the Council more, pulling away resources and legitimacy. But not everyone was happy with the changes. The Krell Empire, humiliated by their losses at Earth, Ambassador Zekthor made one final plea to the Council. If we do not act decisively, humanity will eclipse us completely. We must attack Earth with full force while we still have numerical advantage. Councillor Thondrak shook his head. You tried that once, it failed. Because we held back. If we commit our full military power, we will lose more ships than we can afford, interrupted Admiral Kresh of the Vrath Collective. My analysts have run the numbers. Yes, we would probably destroy Earth, but the cost would cripple our naval forces, and the other human colonies would survive, armed with our technology and an even bigger grudge. We would trade a manageable problem for a disaster. So we do nothing? Zekthor demanded. We adapt, Lyra said quietly. We accept that the galaxy has changed. The humans proved that Council membership is not the only path to success. Perhaps we should ask ourselves why we maintained a system that required subjugation to function. The debate continued, but the outcome was clear. The Council that had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years could not agree on how to handle a single species that refused to know its place. Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity prepared for whatever came next. Shipyards ran day and night. Universities created new programs in alien technology. Children learned mathematics using Council hyperspace equations as examples. The species told they were too primitive to matter had become one of the galaxy's major powers in less than a year. Daniel Hayes stood on the observation deck of the new warship, Defiant, watching construction of dozens more vessels in the orbital yards. Patricia Stone joined him, her new rank marking her as Commodore of the Second Fleet. Strange, is it not? She said. 6 months ago, we were criminals. Now, we are founding a new galactic order. We just wanted to be free, Daniel replied. Everything else is just consequences of that choice. History will remember us, Patricia observed. History will judge us, Daniel corrected. We killed people, Patricia. council personnel who were just doing their jobs. We started a war that cost thousands of lives. We refuse to be slaves, Patricia said firmly. Whatever the cost, that was the right choice. You know it, even if you do not want to admit it. Kevin Brooks's voice came over the communication system. Captain Hayes, Secretary General Foster is calling. He says it is urgent. Daniel moved to a screen. Foster's face appeared, looking both excited and concerned. Daniel, we received a message from the Council. They want formal negotiations, not surrender terms, actual negotiations, with Earth as an equal party. It is a trap, Patricia said immediately. Maybe, Foster agreed, but it is also an opportunity. They are finally admitting they cannot force us into submission. That is a victory by itself. Daniel thought about it. Part of him wanted to refuse, to make the Council suffer as they tried to make Earth suffer. But another part, the diplomat who had tried to find peace in the Council chamber 6 months ago, saw the bigger picture. What are the terms, he asked. They want to meet on neutral ground. They propose completely restructuring Council governance to give all species equal representation. In exchange, they want guarantees that Earth will not provide weapons technology to Council dissidents. So, they want us to stop arming their enemies, Patricia summarized. Why would we agree? Because endless war serves no one, Daniel said quietly. We proved our point. We showed the galaxy that humans do not submit to bullies. But if we can achieve real equality through negotiation, is that not better than fighting forever? Lisa Morgan entered the observation deck, having heard the conversation. The Council cannot be trusted. They will say anything to buy time to rebuild. Probably, Daniel agreed, but they are right about one thing. We cannot arm every unhappy species in the galaxy without creating chaos that hurts everyone, including us. So what do we do? Patricia asked. Daniel looked at the growing fleet, at Earth hanging in space below, at the future humanity was building. We negotiate, but we negotiate from strength. We go to these talks with a fleet behind us and the technology to walk away if they try to trick us. We give them one chance to build something better than the old system. And if they refuse? Kevin asked. Then we remind them why they are offering to negotiate in the first place, Daniel said grimly. The negotiations took place on a neutral space station built by the Talaxians specifically for this meeting. Earth sent Daniel Hayes, Lisa Morgan, and diplomats backed by 20 warships positioned 1 light hour away. The Council sent its full assembly, though the membership had changed. Zekthor was gone, recalled by the Krell Empire in disgrace. Councillor Thondrak led the Council's team. The talks lasted 3 weeks. They were tense and bitter, and more than once nearly collapsed. But slowly, painfully, a new framework emerged. The Galactic Council would become the Galactic Assembly, with equal representation for all member species. Technology sharing would be mandatory rather than restricted. Tribute systems would be abolished. Military action would require unanimous agreement from all members, and Earth would have a permanent seat with full veto power. In exchange, Earth agreed to share its own technological advances with Assembly members, and to stop providing weapons to non-members without Assembly approval. It was not perfect, but it was fair. On the final day of negotiations, Thondrak spoke privately with Daniel. You could have destroyed us, the Sauron said quietly. With the technology you stole and your talent for war, you could have armed every oppressed species and watched the Council tear itself apart. Yes, Daniel agreed, but that would have made us the same as you were. We did not fight to dominate. We fought to be free. Your species is remarkable, Thondrak admitted. We thought you were primitive because you fought among yourselves. We did not understand that those conflicts taught you lessons we never learned. How to struggle, how to adapt, how to refuse to accept defeat. Will the other council species accept these changes? Daniel asked. They will have to, Fondrak replied. The alternative is extinction. You showed the galaxy that the old ways are finished. Species that adapt will survive. Those that do not? He gestured to empty chairs, where ambassadors from collapsed council factions once sat. 3 months later, Earth celebrated Unity Day, marking the anniversary of the Battle of Earth. Admiral Carson stood before a memorial wall, listing everyone who died defending Earth from the Council fleet. Secretary General Foster gave a speech to billions watching across human space and beyond. We honor those who fell, not because they sought war, but because they refused slavery. Their sacrifice bought us freedom to make our own choices. Let us ensure that freedom is never taken from us or anyone else. Daniel Hayes declined to speak publicly. Patricia Stone found him there, both in dress uniform, both remembering the price of their choices. Regrets? Patricia asked. Every day, Daniel admitted. But no doubts, what we did was necessary. Historians are calling you the father of human independence, Patricia said. There is talk of monuments and holidays. Daniel shook his head. I just refuse to accept the unacceptable. The real heroes are the ones who died buying time for Earth to adapt. They deserve monuments. As they stood quietly, a message came to Daniel's personal device. It was from Kevin Brooks at the new research facility on Titan. You need to see this. We have been analyzing the Outpost Meridian data in depth. There is something the Council never told us about hyperspace travel. Something that changes everything. Daniel and Patricia looked at each other. Even after everything, the galaxy still held surprises. Send me the details, Daniel replied. And Kevin, share it with the entire assembly. No more secrets. As sunset came to Earth, casting long shadows across the memorial, Daniel Hayes thought about how far humanity had come in 6 months. From a species begging for acceptance to one of the galaxy's major powers. From servants to equals. The treaties that humiliated them were ash. But from those ashes, humanity built something stronger. A future where no one would ever again tell them they were not worthy of respect. And if anyone tried, the galaxy had learned what happened when you pushed humans too far.